So yeah, Kirba, were you able to try the other sequence on the buffer reader and write it?
Yeah, I was trying it, but I was not getting suggestions like.
Okay,
1
you
minute, I'll
can
share
share
my
your
screen.
screen so we can complete that and then.
Yeah. Can you please enable screen sharing?
I have enabled it.
Yeah, can you see it?
Yeah, I'm able to.
Okay, so for buffered input stream, if you see, if I create one reference and then if I give a control space, it's not giving any proposal. So,
Okay.
so it was the same for file input stream as well.
Even for file input stream where you're not able to.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, I was not able to get any solutions. So is it with STS or with?
I think it might
I'm
be
not
an
sure.
issue because in the line number 23 you have already a method with read right from FS object. So I don't think it's an issue over the part. You can just give control space again after dot. I just saw the list of
Yeah.
methods. Like just remove the
Okay,
dot and then give after dot control space.
okay, FS dot control space,
Yeah,
right?
you're able to see the methods now, right?
Okay. I was giving control space, but I was not getting any solution. So
Okay. Yeah, no issues.
I
Now
was
you can try
thinking,
on the buffered input. Maybe you can give it a try.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So after that, no, I'm not getting any solutions here.
Okay. Okay, fine. Yeah. Um,
So this is the correct way, right?
yeah, this is the correct way. I'm just figuring it out what's happening. Can you just save this file once? And can you have this entire thing in main method because you don't have main method, that is the issue.
Okay.
Yeah. Now just take the entire piece in that and within try catch a block and you add this piece of it. Yeah, you can try now, it should work.
Okay, now it's okay.
Yeah. You didn't have the main method, right? So it was not ready to give the relevant methods.
Okay. So I was reading about this class.
Yeah. So now what you can do is you can just check whether your file is empty or you have some data with the method called available from the input stream. Yeah, you can use that. So if your data is present, you don't need to give -1 to just read the entire file. You're just checking available or not. So you have some like greater than 0 bytes. So if that data is present and it is greater than 0, then you can go and read the file and you can use the BIS object to get the read method. Yeah. And can you go to that read method now? So this again returns you an int method, int value only, basically the count of that. So if you want to convert to a character, you can, or else you can just print the characters. If you want to typecast to character, you can convert it, or you'll have everything as an int. That you can just paste this.p.
So if we typecast, we'll get the characters, right?
Yeah. So every int value will be converted to the char. While loop, I think you didn't close your try block.
Yes.
You have something in your file?
Yeah.
Okay. So since you're
This
printing
one.
it line by line, it's happening. If you print it in print, you'll have it in a single statement.
Okay. So I took a file that you provided last class.
Yeah,
So just modify the path.
okay. Yeah, so this is the way for a buffer input stream, and the same way you can have your buffer output stream to write the things.
And I think there are two different procedures here. No, it's one. So there is
We'll
one
try
mark,
one thing
right?
using the offset and the length. So in the same bis.read, we'll try another scenario. You can just comment it out, this piece of code, like within that bis reads this out.
Okay, within this is
Yeah, so post that. Yeah.
remove it. There is one function, right, for this buffer input string, mark function. So something
Yeah, you have
particular kind
another
of
method called mark. Yeah, we'll see that too. But right now we'll see how to use the read method with offset and length. So what you can do is in the bis.read, you have another overloaded method. And in that you can pass your byte array value. So you can create a new byte array with the available size of your file. This dot available, right? So you can create your byte. So after while loop, you can create a new byte array.
while loop.
Within the while loop or outside the while loop. You have to reuse it. So better to have it before while loop or within the while loop.
Okay.
And create a byte array. And to create a byte array, you need the size. So what it's an empty array. So what you can do is you can just give new byte array of the bis dot available as your size. Whatever size of data you wanted to read from, that would be the size of your byte array.
Okay.
New byte, normal usual. No, it's normal byte data type, not a wrapper class. Yeah. And within that, square bracket. No, usually the array declaration. How do you give your array declaration? Yeah, within that array, you can give bis dot available, which is your size of this. Yes. Now what you can do is in the bis dot read method, line number 20. So within that, you can give control space. You have the third one, right? Third overloaded method with offset and length. You can use that.
Yep.
And you can pass your byte array B object. And the second value, you can give any random 1 to 10 or 1 to whatever data size you have in the file. Based on that, you can give your length and offset.
The second one is offset and third
Yeah, the
one
final one is length. You can just check it on the read method if you wanted to. Yeah, the last one is the length of the file. So you can have like what data you need to print on that read part. You can have it. So you can give some kind of value to read every time. So you can just give as of now you initialize the offset as 10. So you can give the length as 15 just for testing.
So it's going to print like a substring.
Yeah, kind of. So what you can do is now you can iterate it the entire byte from your this dot available. No. Yeah, you can do that too. But instead of that, we can convert that to a character and print it like each byte.
I'm not getting it. How to do it?
You just remove the system.out.print. You'll have this dot read. So you just read that file now.
Okay, so you want
What
me to
happened?
store?
You're starting the offset at 10 and it ends at 15. So only that data will be read.
Okay.
Now what you have to do is you have to iterate each byte because you're storing everything in your B value, right? So you have to iterate it. So you can just remove one closing bracket. Yeah. And post that you can write normal for each loop where you're iterating your byte B object. So after line number 20, create a for each loop. For each. Yeah. Within that colon. And to the right side, you have your byte. And the left side, you're iterating each byte. The byte array, and you're iterating each. You can't have B because you already initialized with B in 18. Have some reference.
Okay.
Yeah. And that
so this one is not going to do anything, right? We are not assigning it to anything.
No, we are just reading the data. That's it. Yeah. Post that when you print that object, you will get the data.
Mhm.
So within the
Okay.
for loop, you have B as your data, which is your input.
Okay.
Yeah. Now within the for loop, we're just going to cross check, since we're taking it as byte array, we're just crossing whether the value is from 0 or more, because you have the offset check. So to do that, we can just check if B is equivalent to 0. You have to convert that 0 because it's an integer, so typecast to byte. Then within that, B is equal to typecast the byte and any special character which you want, like either like hyphen or something. You can use any special character. Yeah, after that, within
Like,
single quotes, you just give hyphen. Yeah. Okay. Now here you can just print out sys out of B. You're typecasting it and B into a character. Whatever you did earlier, right? Typecasting as a character, you can do that from your byte. Yeah.
so okay.
what
So we
happened?
should be making some yes, right?
I think you have to use S, yeah, the references, even in the below S, and here also S. So what
So this
happens
is
is, every time you get any data with 0, it will be replaced with hyphen. Or if you have any any value with 0 will be replaced with hyphen. Like whatever you want to manipulate, right, in your string file, that would be replaced. So you can just go to your file and add something with numbers in your content, and then you just try to re-execute it. Can you just give me 5 minutes? I will just have a call and come.
yeah.
Yeah. So what happened?
I'm getting this is output.
So what was the input you have passed?
Input, yeah, I try with this one.
Okay.
So I tried with normal numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0.
Okay.
So for both, I'm getting the same output.
Okay. Can we debug this? Like, can you just have your debugger on 22 and see what is the byte you're getting on that every time
Which points?
in the for iteration, right?
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So your offset value is from 10 to 15, right?
15. Yeah. Okay. So it's creating a byte array B.
Okay. So can you just inspect on B what is the element right now you have in the line number 21? Just over on B and see what is it. Or even if you check on S value, you'll be able to see. I think you have to go with F6, only then you'll get to know the S value. So it's 0, so you get hyphen. Okay.
Okay. So for these positions, yeah, for these positions, it's just printing hyphen. And from 10 to 25, we have some values. So for that, it's not printing anything. And after that, it's printing something. So if we have some else part to print, this will work, right?
Yeah. You can just bypass, you can just give F8.
F8.
F8. Or you can just go to your in the initial top arrow, top menu, right? You can just go and click the disable toggle breakpoints. Like after that stop button, right? Before that stop, you have something like a bullet before that, the before icon. Yeah,
Okay,
just
this one.
enable it. Yeah, now give F8.
F8. The function key is not working here.
Okay.
Okay. So I added this else part now.
Okay, yeah, you can just exit again. So like even each position is being considered as like this. You can just give some other data set, some text kind of information. You can try to give. You can give some text because like when it converts to integer, you'll get a different value. So we can notify that.
Yes. I'm getting any output. We can exception part we are not handling it, so some exception is coming up.
Sorry, Kiriba.
We are not handling exception, right? So if there's exception here,
Did you get exception now?
no output here.
Okay. no output in case like you don't have any character with any byte with 0. So that is the reason you are not getting the output.
It should come to else part, right?
Okay. So can you just remove that condition like if and else? Just print the just print the byte, just byte. I think you close the for loop as well. Okay. Yeah, you can paste that. You can paste that. Yeah.
This maybe this length is not correct. 10,
You have very limited length in the text. No, right? You have something.
yeah, yeah, more than 10.
Yeah, you have more than 10.
That's something. That's some characters. Maybe some length issue. Now we are getting some
Minimize
output.
your read with the offset of 5 and length as 10 and see. Just minimize the value and see.
It's doing some line break as well.
So the length part, right, whichever you are breaking out from 5 to 10, that way your data is getting printed out. But that is the reason, and in each iteration, whenever you read your data, only that particular piece of code has been read. Can you just decrease your offset still more, like 0 and 10, like instead of 5?
Yeah,
Or just
so
give one. You just
each
have
string
one.
is of 10 characters, each line.
Yeah, just give one there instead of 5.
Okay.
Now execute it.
Same.
Okay. Can you make it 10 now? The
Offset pressure.
Yeah.
Nothing is changing because of offset. Maybe length or 13C.
That changes.
This length is 30.
So what happened is your offset is 10. So every time your offset is getting increased from your 10th position. So when you say hello good, that the 10 characters are done. And in the next case, you have evening. So you're done with your length. Suppose that you don't have the relevant offset. Maybe if you increase the more content, you would have the relevant data printing it on and off since you're iterating it in the loop.
Okay, so how does this offset work? I'm not clear with it.
So whenever you are in like you need to do this read part in your file, only if the data is present, we'll do it. And same way, like if you have like a template format of your text data, then we use this offset to just read that particular piece of code. So what happens if you have a limited size of data in your text, we just read that particular line. So since the offset position will give you the data iteration, on each iteration, you know, like only in the 10th line, my output, expected output has been available. So I'll just read that particular data, mask it or whatever data, whatever thing I want to do in that particular line, I'll perform it and then I'll just update the file. So if you are pretty sure that only this particular statement of line or this particular piece of values have to be masked or changed, then we prefer to go with the offset part.
Okay.
It's basically you know the length of the file and you know where to read your file. Then you go and then do the respective operation. And if otherwise you're just doing a manual operation, like you're reading the entire file, then we may not choose this particular read with the proper offset in there. We always choose the read method. If you have scenarios where you are in need of particular line and you don't want to read the entire file, in that case, we prefer to go with this particular context.
Okay, Sneha.
So now we'll try with the reader and writer. So you can create a separate file for reader. So whatever you tried right now was buffered input stream and output stream. So you can try the similar way for buffered output stream also to write the file and then see how it is getting updated.
Okay.
And like after completing the reader and writer, I'll explain you the other method which you asked, the mark method.
Okay.
So we can see the reader and writer. So here the reader and writer class will read all your data in the format of the user whoever can read it more better way than the system view. Like instead of zeros and ones, we prefer to read everything in the manual string context or a character context. So that is the reason we go with readers and writers. So if you open a file, you can just have the reader class, which is again an abstract class, and that will have the subchild classes. Like you can just type reader there, or you can just give file reader.
Okay.
If you want to have a separate class, your wish, or you can just go ahead here also.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So file
So
reader.
what you can do is, so this is a file reader is one of the class. So you can just give file reader, create an instance equal to new file reader. And you have to pass the file or a string file name. So what we'll do is, till now you are passing the string as your file path. Let's create a file object and use the first overloaded constructor, the file reference.
Okay.
Yeah, and above that, like line number 34, create a file object. So instead of giving it as a string, we're going to create an object file, some reference. You have to import that again from Java IO package. Equal to new file. And in that, you can see again string path name. You can either pass the URL, or if you have a particular parent structure folder and the relevant folder structure, you can go ahead. Right now, we know about a file path, so we're just going to pass our file path directly here. If you have
the same file I can make of, right?
Yeah, if you want a different file path, you can just give the file path / and the file name. You can just make the file path with only the root context, not the file name. And just give the object F in the file reader. So internally, even if you pass the string, if you go above in the earlier one, right? Can you go scroll above? Yeah, can you go to the file input string? Line number 17, like new file input string. Can you go there? Yeah, just open that. So if you see even there, if your file is not null, the name is not null, they are internally creating an object of file, which is new file of the name. So you can either pass your path directly in the parameter, or you can create your own file object and pass, which either both the things are working fine. So if you're pretty sure you're just going to depend on the file path, then you can just give the string. It will take it. The system will take care of this. So it's an overloaded constructor, so it will take care of it. So you don't need to explicitly create a file object.
Okay. So in that case, the file would be empty, right? If it is creating.
Yeah. If you don't have the file, then you will be ended up with a null pointer exception. Since it's a string path, yeah, if you're not handling the null check, you will end up with a null pointer exception. And if you pass the file path and your file is not present in that path, then you'll end up with the file not found exception.
Okay.
Yeah. So every time whenever we work on it, we have to make sure the path has that file, and then the string is not empty. So what we have to do as a best practice is, every time when we get this file reader object, we have to cross check the file path. So what we do is, in line number 15, we'll just write an if check. If file path is not equal to null, or if the length of the file path is greater than 0, or something like that, to avoid null pointer checks. And then to confirm that your file is present in that particular place, you have to cross check. That is the reason you have that available byte, right? So based on that, you can avoid your other exceptions. So now you can go ahead and now, so you have again a read method to do it. So you use FAR dot read. So just go into it. Yeah, if you see that, go to that read method. So this is again an integer. So you still have the end of line as -1. We go into it, and internally that read method, can you just go line number 169, the read method? Yeah. So this internally goes and then reads every character. So whatever is happening so far in your stream, the same thing happens. But in your stream, you were converting explicitly to character because you are getting everything as bytes. But here you will get everything as your character. That is the only difference we have between the reader and the stream class. So now you can go ahead.
Still returning int, right? So
Yeah,
how
it
do you
will
say
return int, and internally, like whenever you're comparing the data set, right, that is happening to character. So whereas in the earlier one, it was not that way.
Okay.
Only the what is it? The algorithmic path is different. But other than that, our structure of reading the file will remain same. Even if you go for input stream or even if you go for reader's path. So now you can just have a while condition. If FIR of dot read is not equal to -1, that is not end of file. Then you can go and then just print out your data.
So this is still in try catch. Okay.
Yeah, everything is similar main method, right? So you have it in similar block.
So I'm going to print.
Yeah, just give print, and within the double quotes, just give some text to differentiate between this. Just give reader, and then you read the FIR.read and then typecast that to a character. You have to use plus symbol, otherwise you have to use the colon within double quotes.
If I not read, right?
Yeah, you can use read method, and you can typecast a character if you want to see the character of that file. And every time after using your reader, you have to close that FIR object. So after while loop, just close that instance. So you have some content in your file, right?
Yeah. The same content, whatever
Yeah,
is
okay.
displayed here. Okay, so for each character, it is printing file reader. And
yeah, so you can have it
we will
separate and
remove
then.
this.
So whatever data you have read, that has been printed here.
Only partially it is printing, I guess.
Because the above content was having the data, right? You have any can you just comment out the previous above out, like the one which you were doing in the previous one?
This one, right?
Yeah.
Or do we need to close this object? Buffered input stream.
You haven't closed?
Yeah, I haven't closed. That's it.
No, even then your file has been updated, right? The read context has been updated. So what is happening is when you're reading the files, you're just checking the instance, and whatever data is updated as later point of your thing, that is being here.
It's partially printing. You see this.
Can you just go to your text and then just make it like some simple sentence? You have something BTS and all. Do you have there in your text file?
Yeah. I just added some random text.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this.
Okay. It's something to be addressed. you have a different encoding, I guess. Can you just include the encoding aspect also here?
Okay.
Can you go to that reader, file reader, and see the overloaded methods of that?
So I can see it from here. Car set.
Yeah.
This one, right?
The car set, yeah. Go with that and then give standard character set. You can give UTF-8. Yeah, no, standard characters char sets dot. You have the all the static values here. You go with UTF-8.
Okay.
Okay. In the line of,
or we will comment out this part and see if it is working.
yeah, yeah. You can just comment out that while block, that should be fine.
I will comment out this entire buffered input stream. So we have file path here.
Okay.
What is used here?
Something's happening here. I'm just thinking about it. This is not the context you gave here, right? Can you go to the file
No.
path? The same file path, right? You're using.
Yeah, this is the file path. So we copied it from here. Same.
Okay. Okay. Can we try one more thing instead of file reader? We'll try one more thing and then see whether in that also we are getting the same reference.
Okay.
Like instead of file reader, create buffer reader. And within that new buffer reader.
So what is the difference between input stream, buffered input stream, and buffer reader?
Yeah, both are same. Only thing is like here you will have it in a more reader context view. That's it. That's the only difference. It's all in the character stream. In buffer input stream, it is more of byte related. That's it. We can read the entire string directly here. And if you see that, you can see the object which you're going to pass as reader instance. So the reader is again your abstract class. So you can create your own subchild here. So you can give new input stream reader, like input stream, how you have a reader here. That's the only difference. So you can have the first method, reader object, and you can create new input stream reader. Yeah, and within that, it will accept again input stream and the object. So what you can do now is you have all your file. So you can create the first instance. You can go with the first one. And within that, you can give your file input stream. Since it's asking for stream object, you can give new file input stream. And within that, you can give your file path.
This will work